appearance of the water, the color, any particles, certain taste, certain odor. And you can actually attach pictures to this as well to give us an idea of what you're experiencing. And have you experienced this in the past? And then lastly, I think we finish up with, please, did any items occur in this area within the past 48 hours? Was there a water main break, hydrant flushing, construction, pipe construction, department responding to a fire, those type of things? That helps us to identify that something may have been going on that we weren't aware of, but there was a heavy draw on the system that caused sedimentation to build up or come out through your home as well. So we take a look at that. You can add some additional notes for us. And then we have some next steps that kind of finalize the survey that say, what are the actions you would like SGWASA to take? And you select a response here, and you can get a copy of the responses, and you submit that document to us, and we capture that document. So I thought it was important to go through that survey just to show you that this is not send us an email and say, I've got a problem, or a lot of times we'll hear, we just don't like your water, and it was brown 2 weeks ago. Okay, well, thank you for that information, but that doesn't really help us. Would you please answer or fill out the water quality survey for us, which really does help us. So I thought it was important tonight just to remind the board what we were doing, and also to show the public, if they're not aware of it, how to access this, how easy it is. You can get it on your smartphone, get it on the web, your computer, whatever device that you have, to fill that out for us. Okay? So are there any initial questions or comments regarding what I presented so far?
That's good information. Thank you.
Okay, so what do we do with the information? What do we do with the information after we receive it? Crystal, would you go to the water quality testing workflow? All right, so why end there, right? Why just stop with, okay, we got your information? So I'm not going to go through all these steps, but I just want to demonstrate to the board as well as the public that we take this seriously. We take the information in. This information comes to my desktop and others, plant superintendents. It's dispersed out to the proper teams. Work orders are created. Field investigations are done. Coordination is done with flushing. Coordination is done with follow-up. Testing is done back in the lab on water resorts. And then we have all this information that resides in a database for us so we can take a look at this and follow up. So there is a process to everything that we're doing. We're not just taking emails and saying delete or send to the recycle bin. There are actionable items that we do for follow-up, and it's demonstrated here in the process with our work order management system. Again, being able to take all this information and apply it back to analysis is really what we do as far as dynamic mapping, looking at our water models, those type of things, to bring this information together to work towards a solution. Okay, so you're not working fast enough. Well, that may be true, but we are working on this, and we're doing what we can to do the implementation and the upgrades to the projects that we have. All right, so that's all I have on that. I think those were important items to at least address the portion of the letter that talked about filling out water quality questionnaires and how important that is. So if we do ask you for more information or fill out the questionnaire, please do that for us, because it is very helpful versus just an email saying, I've got brown water today. All right, very good. So one of the things I would like to do is continue on with the next item, which is the project update report from July of 2024. Crystal, if you would bring that up for me. All right, so what we have here, and the board recognizes this report, I'll just talk about this from a public perspective, is that I think that I went back and looked at my reports this week, and this is a monthly report that is sent out to the board members, and I believe the board members also share this with Commissioner Wales. So you can share this with your board members, with your mayor, your city manager. It's not a private document, and I know others do the same thing. And I know that when Crystal came on board working for us, it's just been about 2 years now, she said, hey, why don't we take this information and publish this as well so that we have access to this. So she's taking this information and putting it out in digest form as well to update the public. But this is a monthly report that has been coming out basically since every month since I started back in 2019, September, looking at that date to provide the board with updates on the status of our project. So you will see, for example, in this most recent report, our PFAS testing mitigation strategies program, which is section 1, high priority, high impact projects. This goes on to talk about PFAS and the rules and regulations. It gives a background on everything that has gone on, how SGWASA is a passive receiver of PFAS. We don't produce nor manufacture PFAS. We're stuck with it. It's something that we have to deal with. There's been several announcements regarding health advisory levels regarding PFAS. We've been working on this since June of 2022. We've worked with Hayes & Sawyer, our consultants, to identify where PFAS is coming from. All we can resolve is that it's in our lake. We can't identify a primary source for that. It doesn't matter. You still have to deal with it. We talk about the costs for PFAS reduction program, and the cost of SGWASA can range from $1.50 to $2 or more per gallon per day of finished water for a water plant. And SGWASA's water plant is currently permitted at 7.5 million gallons per day. It only produces around 3 million gallons per day. So if we are going to treat the total capacity, that's a range of $11 to $20 million just to fix that PFAS problem that we didn't create. So we are working with consultants on this project. We've done our sampling with ECS Southeast LLP to understand what we have going on in the plant. In July of 2023, SGWASA hired engineering consultant CM Smith to assist us on our journey. We were going to spend $500,000 on a PFAS pilot testing program, but we received a grant of $500,000 for that from the state. And PFAS testing, what does that mean? Pilot testing, we're actually going to bring in testing to the facility and run trials inside the plant on the 3 different technologies that we have for resolving the PFAS in the water. That would give us an idea on our water quality, our water composition, our chemistry, which one is the most cost effective at reducing that PFAS and to what level. Because we have maximum contaminant levels that we have to get down to per EPA standards. So we're going to look at that technology, apply it against our water chemistry, and say this technology or combination of technologies will get you where you need to be to meet those federal requirements. Again, the clock is ticking. We have 5 years to comply. We're not the only ones across the state that are doing this, or the country that are doing this. So the competition is there in terms of just supply management and equipment and design and engineering. But we are moving forward with that. We did get approval from DEQ on our schedule. I have an item coming to the board at the next board meeting to approve the $500,000 contract with CDM Smith for that. At the same time, we applied to the state last year for a grant and also funding for the $20 million construction project. We didn't receive anything on that, but we will continue to submit. The state of North Carolina awarded SGWASA $5 million for infrastructure improvements. I'm recommending to the board, haven't done this formally yet, but we've moved that money towards the PFAS project to keep us moving forward so we can work on the design for the project. Now, as soon as we get the bench testing done to understand which technology we want to use to reduce that, we'll start the design engineering to move forward. And right now we're considering design build type of construction instead of design bid build because of the compressed timeline to be able to get this project done. So again, just wanted to update the board and the public how we're moving on PFAS. Although there may be some frustration with the pace that we're moving, I'm not sure if we can really move any faster than what we are, quite honestly, especially when it comes to utilizing grant money for this project. And I guess we could have more out-of-pocket money if you want, and we can move quicker. But you really don't want to move too fast in terms of getting the proper design done for your water plant. And there's an option if you want to spend $3 a gallon and spend 20 million, maybe we should just do that and forget all the bench testing. But maybe you only needed to spend 10 million to solve your problem. So what we're going through as far as the problem analysis is really the proper steps that we're going through. And I'm very confident that we're going to meet the EPA deadline of 5 years to get our project done. At this point, I can't tell you succinctly if we can beat that, but that's basically our marker at this point that we have to beat. So we're moving down that pathway. All that information, again, is found in this document. I'll stop there, but I will tell you that there are 4 pages of information related to that. And again, if this information is being shared with member boards and city managers, town managers, and mayors, there's plenty of opportunity to have these discussions about PFAS, water quality, whatever's going on in your community because you have this information here. You get it once a month, and you saw on the header, if you have any questions or concerns, let us know. We'll sit down and we'll talk about it. So there's those opportunities are there. In addition to that, I'd like to mention at this point too, I've had the privilege of meeting with many of you on a monthly basis, just for customer relations meetings. So what does that amount to? So that's something that I implemented when I came here in 2019. For those that want to participate, we actually sit down with a community on a monthly basis, and we talk to the commissioners, the town manager, the city manager, the mayor, whoever wants to attend. We have the opportunity to spend an hour, 2 hours, whatever, to talk about these projects. So that vehicle is already there for that forum. This isn't something that we are not doing. So if there are concerns by communities and leadership where they want to talk about these projects, we have many opportunities to have those discussions, and they've been laid out month after month after month to be brought to our attention. So we continue to look forward to that type of relations, customer relations with our communities, because I think it's been very beneficial. Commissioner Way, I know that you've participated in a lot of those meetings since you become a board member, and so has your mayor as well participated. So I greatly appreciate that. I'd like to move on to, I'm going to skip over the lead and copper program. At this point, there's a lot of information in there. I'd like to focus on page 7, which is the City of Creedmoor Service Area Water Distribution System Lake Rogers Booster Pump Improvements. I identified that previously as far as what we've done to get us to this point. $261,000 that we spent on that so far as far as just the contract. Hopefully we can hold to that to get that finished here and completed within the next 30 days. I think that concludes all I want to cover at this point in terms of our water quality topics. Again, just emphasizing that I hope the board understands, and I hope maybe the public has a little bit better insight as to how aggressive this organization, this authority is in addressing customer concerns, complaints, and information, how we move forward with technology, how we're utilizing what we can with that technology to design and build resolutions to these issues that are out there. We're very open to communication. Please understand that there's a lot of analysis, a lot of design, a lot of engineering that goes into these solutions, and it's not as easy as fixing something overnight, but rest assured that we're working on it. So with that, I'd just like to close at this point and say thank you to the board for everything that you approved this evening on the agenda to continue to help us move forward with all of our initiatives. And lastly, if there's anything that you have as far as comments or questions on anything that I presented in this presentation, I'm open to that as well.
Thank you for the detailed explanation. Thank you for going through the letter and addressing the concerns that was brought forth. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you for laying out exactly what is in the survey. So now people know they can go to the website from their phone, from their computer, from any smart device to fill out this survey and get you the correct information. But most of all, thank you to the staff that probably helped you compile a lot of this information and numbers. It doesn't go unnoticed, and it's greatly appreciated of all the work that's done by our staff here at SGWASA. So
Great, thank you.
Any further?
Nothing, thank you.
That concludes our comments from our executive director and comments from our attorney.
No comments unless you have questions.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Jim?
Closed session.
No.
Okay. All right. Then comments from our board members. We'll start with Councilperson Judy Cheek.
Good evening. I want to also thank SGWASA and everything you guys do. You do a great job. We appreciate the information. I appreciate having tools that I can help answer questions that come to me. So thank you. So that's all I have.
Thank you. And Councilperson Vicki Daniels.
I also want to thank you on all the details and information was excellent. Preparation for the meeting. It doesn't go unnoticed how much work and effort is put in place, especially with the items that you present. You have the preliminary information and the knowledge presented before the recommendation, and that's very helpful. And I appreciate staff too working very hard during the storm did. I know that had to be a lot of work with all the rain, and times you have to go out, not in the sunshine, but in probably the bad weather we were experiencing too. So that's greatly appreciation. I think we really have a good staff and employees on staff with us that work very hard. And I appreciate all the information tonight. It was very, very good. Thank you.
Commissioner Way.
Sir, I think I've addressed every concern and commented on just about everything I can tonight. I appreciate, can't reiterate it. Thank you for the detailed information. Thank you for laying out what needs to be done. And we'll continue to reach out to people that do experience these problems, to reach out to SGWASA so we can narrow down. The point in case you brought up the parallel running of the different types of pipes. Once the pipe was changed out, it cleared up the water situation. So maybe that's things that we need to identify in the city of Creedmoor, where some of these locations may be experiencing what kind of pipe they actually have. So once again, I appreciate the information.
Thank you. Commissioner Karen.
Well, my comments tonight are some of the infrastructure in the city of Creedmoor is older than here in the town of Butner. 39 water plant, 42 tank here in Butner. You had former elected officials putting their finger in the air to determine which way they were going to go. And now they're looking at this board and wanting to know why. So I'll reserve the rest of my comments.
Commissioner McLean.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Mr. Bowman. Thank you, Crystal. Staff does a wonderful job, and thank you, Scott, for sitting down with me once a month and going through and answering all my little questions that I have. And I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to thank Scott and his staff and all of the people that were on call and out during the storm. We appreciate all that they do for us, and we've got a very dedicated crew out in the field that if it's 100 degrees, they're there, and if it's 15 degrees, they're still there. They work whether it's freezing weather or whether, it's hot weather. They work year round. About 2 weeks ago, I attended a continuing education class put on by Rural Water. And this is to get your annual continuing education credits for water and wastewater certifications for renewal of them. And we had a large segment and a big discussion on PFAS and PFOS. And I can tell you, based on the feedback and talking with people in that class, SGWASA is ahead of the curve from what most municipalities and most other water systems are doing. But I also found out a lot more disturbing characteristics of PFAS and PFOS. And we talk about the PFAS and PFOS as if they're two different chemicals or two different chemical compounds. 2 years ago, they were hundreds of compounds. This year, there are tens of thousands of compounds because the chemical companies keep changing the chemical formula. And they make it more specific because you got some, if you got a water repellent jacket, it has PFAS in it. If you have, hunting clothes that are water resistant, you have PFAS. Fast food wrappers. I mean, it's all around us. And right now the EPA is actually picking the low-hanging fruit, which is the water systems where they can identify the levels in them. The next step is the wastewater treatment systems where they can identify the levels that's being put back out into the environment. What we talked a lot about the treatment to remove PFAS from water. One of the more popular ones right now is carbon. But they've also found out that when you heat the carbon to regenerate it, to reuse it, you release PFAS into the environment, into the air. Anything that you do, any type of treatment system they have so far, the byproducts, if you put it in the landfill, it gets into the leachate from the landfill. And then it's pumped out and usually carried to a wastewater treatment plant for treatment. So it's a never-ending cycle with this, and it's constantly changing. And over the years, the technology is going to be constantly changing to treat it, and we have to be really careful of what a method we go with, because once you establish a method, then all of a sudden, in about 4.5 years, there's going to be a lot of competition for the materials you have to use. If you go with carbon, you can expect carbon to go out of sight price-wise, because the demand would be so much greater than the supply, and it'll drive the price up. So, the estimates we have on treating water could be off by 75%, depending on the market. Now, if you get more supply in and the demand's not as great as anticipated, it may not reach that level. But this is a thing we're going to have to work on for years to come. There's no instant solution to it. Whatever solution you think works, you find out there's a byproduct from it, and that it creates. You take it from here and it goes over there. Basically, what happens when you take it out of the water, it goes, it goes into the landfill, it goes into the air, depending on how you handle the products that you use to remove PFAS. It's kind of a mind-boggling problem, and it's not easy to simplify it where people can understand it. I mean, I have to admit, I've worked in water and wastewater for a good many years, and I had trouble following this presentation, and I had to get the lady to email me a copy of it so I could look at it further. And we're in it for the long haul. We're not trying to do no short-term patch. We want to find the best solution possible that will sustain us into the future. We don't want to get in a situation where we spend $15,000 or $20,000 now and try to rush to get this done, and then 5 years down the road we have to spend another $10 million or $15 million. We have to methodically go through this, just like everything else Scott does. You go through the process, and we will continue to work on it. We're working on it now, and we will continue on into the future. And that's the end of my comments for tonight. And do we have anything for closed session?
Yeah, I think we should. Okay. Yeah. We've got one quick matter to update you on.
Okay, we've got one quick matter to update in closed session, and call for a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion on the motion? That we'll go ahead. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed likewise. Ayes have it. Motion carried.
Oh, we're ready. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. And we have a motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on the motion? No discussion. Therefore, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed likewise. Ayes have it. Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Great.
Thank you.